Hello, I'm Rob Westervelt, Head of Content for S&P Global Energy Conferences. Electronic materials demand is surging on the exponential increase in AI infrastructure spending. Electrification is adding 20 to 25% weight to vehicles, including electronic materials and other advanced materials. Defense spending is increasing. These trends are impacting strategy and demand and capital allocation decisions for chemicals and material suppliers. We recently convened a conference on specialty chemicals and critical materials to address these issues. The experts, we had some great experts, including Balaji Srimulathan from the ADS Group in the UK, and Mark Morgan, executive director with S&P Global's Chemical Conferences Group, to unpack what these trends mean for specialty chemicals and advanced materials. A couple insights stood out. One is the critical role of supply chains and the need to rebuild supply resilience. Industry learned this lesson in the immediate wake of COVID as demand surged and there were supply constraints. That is taking on a bit of a different form today as you add geopolitical tensions to the mix, tariffs, buy local strategies, the desire to reshore. These are all highlight the need to incorporate supply chain resilience. And that will be a key competitive advantage for the companies that do it right. And this gets particularly challenging for advanced materials, for electronics, as you look at rare earths, semiconductors, critical materials. Those aren't necessarily located where they're most needed today. So that just sort of reemphasizes the need to think about supply chain as you think about these issues. Another element was the approach to innovation. Do you expand production for today's platforms and needs, or do you invest in next generation materials, particularly around AI, electronics, and defense applications? Balaji noted the challenges there after the industry's in a tough margin environment today, but it's got to do both simultaneously. You have to meet demands for today's platforms, but also think about how to invest in next generation materials. Mark noted some breakthroughs on areas such as lithium, such as extracting lithium from shale wastewater using metal organic frameworks, and that could reshape economics and availability of critical materials such as lithium. One other element is how these big headlines, you see the big headlines around reshoring of manufacturing, big OEM investments, the massive AI spend, increased defense budgets. These don't automatically translate into new materials orders. In a tough and margin-constrained industry where CapEx is being very closely watched, companies need to be cautious and careful about how they invest to meet these demands and when that demand will actually happen. So these issues, they're going to be front and center at the World Petrochemical Conference, March 23rd to 27th in Houston. You can check out the latest agenda and register at wpc.spglobal.com. Thank you so much for joining us today and listening, and we'll see you next time.